and we can start.
Oh, sorry.
We can start the night of the second, the dinner.
Yes.
To have a meeting, all of us. Some partners are include Alba.
Great idea. So,
Alba,
yeah.
Alba is coming with.
Alfonso
Anyway,
is joining 4 days. Yeah.
I was saying that we can say, being more precise, that performance is a tool of research for us to understand how the space works, how the space is affecting us, the frame of mind that is creating. And what you were saying, that architecture is more or less permanent, it is it's transformed very slow. We have also the ephemeral architecture that includes scenography. So we can change the places for theatrical performance or any kind of performance by scenography. So I think we should include in our schedule the textural ephemeral architecture, in which should be include scenography. I mean, as a way to change and to experiment in the possibilities of our environment and how, I mean, to understand it in a way that how can be more adjusted to human.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. How was your work there at Arquitectura, no?
Architecture, yes, absolutely. Yes, because there are several elements that could be used, including virtual reality. Now, virtual reality, I know that is going to open another world. We need to be sure if we want to include it or not. So to make it just in the real world, or we want to eventually have open a window into the digital.
But I think it's not possible. I mean, really, we can include it to say this is not a good way. I mean, to understand the environment, because I'm sure. I mean, we have to prove it, but I'm sure that the virtual reality is affecting in another way, completely different, our brain as the real environment is affecting, because we never can have the whole experience. I mean, first of all, we know it's not true. I mean, it's a virtual, but in the experience with the environment, all the senses are involved, and in the virtual reality, that is not true. I mean, you don't have the touch, you don't have the smell, you don't have a lot of things that are included in the experience of the environment, how we experience space. But anyway, yes, as a line, like the possibility that if someone wants to explore that, yes, could be included.
Athena.
I have a question because, I just arrived, so I'm not into the whole thing. I was having a look at the website you sent us this morning. And there was the big question was slow things, memory, all of this. Is that part of our thinking? Because I understood that this was the most important thing of the cost project in generally speaking.
Yes, that is an example that is my colleague example. So basically, she's working this.
Oh, so it's your colleague. It's not the central framework. No. Okay, sorry, I didn't get it. Sorry. Okay.
But it's very important because it's giving us the possibility to understand that we can use humanities. And for example, what she's doing in different countries, they are investigating the stories of the miners that were in this little village. This is something that disappeared completely. So locally, people are doing storytelling, collecting traces,
Yeah, oral
creating a
histories and all that.
website
Mm.
to recreate the heritage, the intangible heritage of these people in a slow process, and because it's something that happened through many years. So it's good because I said, oh, that means that we can work on this kind of, and it's great because the cost action is creating a number of initiatives in different countries. So in each country, then we can have an action related to the cost action. And then we can have little events, little, medium, large events, conferences. So as soon as we have a good idea, the idea is to find out, okay, how we can express all of these. And this could be conferences, networking, of course, the website, performances, and combination of all of these, and traveling maybe in different countries. So every year we have an opportunity to create a number of activities.
We should include performing space as a conference and as part of the action.
That could be a good idea if we are able to put as an element of all of this. It's not the only one, but is one of of course, the Greek one, for example.
No, I think we are thinking to move headquarters for the next year. Maybe we don't do it in Greece. So
yeah,
be whatever. No, the thing of performance space is completely flexible. For now, we have to discuss, but anyway,
yeah,
just to understand if we could include it or not, or if it is good or not for the project. I mean,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Gina.
Yeah, lots of really interesting thoughts there. And yeah, just lots of seeds, I think. And my initial thoughts at the moment is, yeah, it kind of depends what thread we're going to follow and what sort of key question or sub questions we might want to finally answer. One thought, for example, with regards to cultural heritage, there is a lot of work around performance as a form of intangible cultural heritage, and there's definitely a lot that could be done and could be said and questioned around that. Another thought is, so it's only thoughts that I'm sharing at the moment, and still lots of questions really. About what are the new types of communities that are being developed, because there is I'm currently being involved in another network that is looking at community-oriented practice in healthcare, which has a similar sort of approach and sort of looking at interdisciplinary way of understanding what our primary care must be or should look like. And this notion of community, locality is very important, and at least this is something that everybody realizes, recognizes in the UK, that network is. So I'm thinking, so if we live in this globalized environment, and our lived environments architecturally are completely different, what are the new forms of communities that are being developed, and in what way does this impact on our well-being? Are there any positives in there? Is it all negative? Then another thought is about the virtual world and virtual environments. There is, if we are looking at how a body connects with its environment, then there are things to be learned about that, or through that. And then my final thought is that I think performing space may be in a different, well, maybe in a more focused, in a particular theme, could definitely be part of something like this. So that I would definitely see it as being part of one of the actions, perhaps. So that these are my initial thoughts.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gina. And you touched a very important keyword, that is communities. And I know that now, if you want to have a successful research, at least in my field, you need to touch on communities and how you are impacting them. Just an example, in Nottingham, I'm doing a research about the Ukrainian community that arrived after the war, that is now together with the old community of Ukrainian coming after the other war. And these are two Ukrainian communities that are completely different. One is old people, old generation. Some of them are the second generation. And these are women and children coming from the last war. So these two communities are now together, but they're not the same thing. So just to mention that in just one town, you have a completely different thing. So communities could be also attached to migration, of course. And migration is the big issue of Europe and in the world in general, because we have a world that is spoiling another world. And now we're complaining because this world is coming to us because they don't have any more possibilities to live. And so this inequality, this crazy thing that is generating things like Brexit. I mean, Brexit is about stopping people to come here. This is the only thing for Brexit. And just to mention this, they didn't succeed. So since Brexit, immigration went up. So there are more people today than 4 years ago. So of course, this could be an interesting thing, because if we are using performance to understand communities, and maybe we can also tackle the more general problem of how these people can integrate themselves into another world in which there is no possibility to have an integration, because our environments, our towns are made for segregation, not for integration. The housing scheme of our town is to segregate people. In fact, if you go to Nottingham, you have this little district in which Italians are. The old generation came after the war. Then you have the Polish in another place, and there is no connection. So that could be very interesting. Any other thoughts that you want to share?
Something about the keyword identity. I think this fundamental one, because today talking about identity could mean at the same time inclusive approach, or on the other side a refusal of the other that could put in crisis the identity of the community and the place. So it's very important to thought about this keyword, and maybe identity could be declinated anytime in plural identities, because any case, any place have different identities that are superimposed in different layers, from the very old past to today. And even in this case, from the architectural point of view, it's important to understand not only what we see today in a synchronic point of view, but have the possibility to read and understand in a diachronic way the different layers that characterize a place, even that layers that are not still visible and make part of the intangible heritage, but at the same time are important as the material and the actual layers visible. And this is possible if we approach geography from a point of view of investigate the social reality, because in the geography are inscribed different histories from the present to the past. This could be a way to manage a research, no, on places.
Thank you, Maurizio. Yes, absolutely. I'm putting some notes here. Anything else that you want to share? I know today is really the first moment, but definitely it's very important because we are putting together from the single body in space, to say, to a larger body that is a community. And okay, all right, Tyrone. No problem, because we're going to
absolutely.
close as well.
Really dash off.
Yes.
So
Thank you
I'll leave it.
for
Thanks for this.
coming, and I'll see you in Napoli.
See you soon.
I'll rush off. Ciao, ciao.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Anyway, I'm going to close in 1 minute, really. Any other willing to share anything else?
I want to share that I don't want to share because it's my first time here and I don't really know what you're talking about, but when I read your friends, it's true. So I'm not going to talk nonsense. I want to talk to you about my feelings when I read your friend's cost project, that it really touched on something extremely urgent. How do we work with time? What do we want from our lives? You know, something very human. Well, mainly this, the urgency of things, of this matter, and also it had a utopian aspect. You know, we go to an island, we'll never be able to do this, but we. And what I think that we had discussed when Tyrone was here in Napoli, and we were looking on the what would be the main subject for this year's performing space, and we talked about relationality, sociability, all this, the need to be together and do simple things and share. So this is nonsense and crap, but I wanted to share this with you, and maybe not go to and not follow a path that is very in fashion, like climate change. I'm just saying this comes to mind because everybody's into that. And going
that
to
is nonsense. That is a nonsense itself.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, of course, because there's nothing we can do now. I mean, if we do a performance here in Napoli, it doesn't mean anything. It's not going to change anything. So it's really nonsense.
The American Indians, they were dancing to bring the rain, so they were changing.
We can try. We can
and
try.
you know, here in the Aracneo, the mountain, there was also rituals for the gods to bring the rain. Through performance, you change climate.
Okay, let's try it this week and see if it works. But anyway, be original, not follow, you know, what is in fashion now, things like that. But I need to think more because I really don't know anything about what you've been discussing.
We've not really been discussing because this is the first meeting anyway. So this is just, I think, a brainstorming away from what I understand. But can I just also just say something in relation to what Maurizio just said, which I found really interesting. And a key word for me there was the notion of place at a time. And in many ways, it relates to what Athina was just saying, but also relates to what you, Andrea, was saying before, you know, this idea of displacement and immigration. And so basically connecting with this issue that we are facing in current times, and yet at the same time connecting with the very much necessary element of territory for our sense of identity and for developing community. So in some ways, and also I'm thinking, okay, so what does an interdisciplinary group of our synthesis could do in relation to some of the key topics that we are discussing now? You know, we are architects, you know, theater practitioners, performance practitioners, etc. So, and also, you know, in preparation for the conference, you know, I've been looking through various things, and this notion of site specificity, one of the key professors discussing site-specific performance is now shifting into looking at place-specific performance. So she's shifting the notion of site into the focus on place. And anyway, so maybe that's another thing that we could unpack.
Absolutely, thank you. Thank you, Gina and Athena. Athena, these are all very interesting aspects when you're talking about the sociability, relationship, being together, social ritual mentioned by Pablo. We definitely need to recover this, because this is what is missing, simply speaking. And and digital is unfortunately taking away from us a lot of the social aspects. The young generation cannot believe what they will be, because in terms of anxiety and not being able to have relationship, because they are growing up into a screen that is not the reality, and they are taking away from them a lot of these experiences that I had when I was a kid. So
sorry, and the loss of energizing the senses, as Pablo said. You know, we can't use touch, whatever, you know, all this annihilated.
Yeah, I mean, in that way, we can, as I was saying,
sorry, I have to leave as well.
You have to go to your
Sorry, I have to leave.
You have to go with your
sorry.
courses in the code. You're gonna write the courses.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I know we're a little bit over time, but thank you so much, Albert. And
thank you very much. Yeah, next time I will. Now my brain is exploding. I'm finishing the pizza, but I have a lot of ideas to share. I hope enough.
Don't worry.
Best of luck. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
So we have lots of very interesting things I'm putting together, and definitely I'm sure that we will come out with a good combination of all of these factors. For sure, there is a need to go back to reality, and possibly this could be a winning point. So the fact that we need to do this because we have a generation that is going out of reality, unfortunately, and out of places. And maybe reinforcing, this could be even a project for youth. I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff there.
I think a line research could be that. I mean, that there are a lot of research going on right now about that, but how digital are affecting us and our social behaviors, our brain, our cognitive system, and all this thing. Actually, I was thinking Merleau-Ponty, the phenomenology of space. All the information he's bringing to prove his thoughts, it was coming from mental, not only mental. I mean, how do you say that? I cannot find the word. The people, sick people, I mean, with different diseases, that they were affected in mobility, in hearing, or whatever, or even in mental disease, in order to understand how our brain works and the relationship and our body and the connection with the space. So maybe to understand reality and our environment and the embodiment of space and all these things and whatever, the social, the individual, and everything, it's a good thing to bring that also. I mean, how digital is affecting in one way. I mean, part of the amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good. I mean, I have a very nice page full of notes, lots of stuff. I will try to put a kind of review what we were discussing, just to have some material ready for NAFPLIO. Just mention Francesco. I'm not sure Francesco will be able to be there in person. He said that he could eventually join online. Francesco Guerreri is an architect, but is the founding member of a collective of
The Walking Fellows.
yes, like an artist and practitioner. It's called Stalker Osservatorio Nomade. And they were working a lot in the 90s, 2000, to explore what is the using walking, exploring spaces through walking, but also going into the edge of town in which there is a completely different life, where migrants are there, people that are clandestine. And looking also the life of people like Roma people, and that was an incredible way to share experiences and to create an understanding of what towns are creating within towns. It's like there is another world that is, can I say, autonomous in some way, and is at the margins of towns. Anyway, thank you for now. That was great. Great to meet you, and look forward.
Last thing, Andrea, we booked the place for the dinner on the 2nd.
Oh yes, can you book it?
Okay.
Okay, great.
And I've got a question,
Absolutely.
Andrea. Before you go,
Absolutely.
Andrea, just have a very, very small
Yeah.
question with regards to tickets, that's all.
Yes, absolutely. No, ask me.
We don't have to keep everybody else, it's just a matter
All
of...
right. Okay. Okay.
So thank you, Andrea. Thank you
you.
all.
Thank you, guys.
Mauricio, Gina, Pablo.
And I'll
Nice
see you.
meeting you, Mauricio.
See you in a place where I don't have to wear a coat.
Oh, be
I cannot
prepared.
believe it. It's real. I mean, you
Crazy.
can imagine here right now is hell.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Give you an
Okay.
idea how, to give you an
Bye-bye,
idea
Yusuf.
how
Thank
hard
you.
it is.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm
So
stopping
I guess it's
what is-
logistic.
recordings.